Today, we're deconstructing one of the most famous and, let's be honest, infamous experiments in all of psychology. But we're not just going to look at the shocking results. No, we're going to break down the meticulous, step-by-step script that was designed to push ordinary people to their absolute moral limits. Let's see how they did it.
So let me just ask you, straight up. It's a simple question, and I think almost all of us would have the same answer. No, of course not. But see, Stanley Milgram's experiment wasn't really interested in what we think we do. It was designed to find out what we actually do when someone in a position of authority asks us to do the unthinkable.
You know, the whole thing was built on a really clever lie. When people showed up at Yale University back in 1961, they were told they were taking part in a simple study on memory and learning. Sounds harmless, right? A totally reasonable, even noble scientific cause. And that was the official line. It's simple, it sounds logical, and it immediately puts the whole thing in a neutral scientific frame. But that one sentence, it's a mask for the true, much darker purpose of the study. This is the very first layer of the script. Okay, so here's where the deception gets really slick. To make it seem fair, participants drew a slip of paper to get their role. But guess what? The draw was totally rigged. The real subject always became the teacher, and an actor was always the learner. This wasn't just a coincidence, it was a critical part of the script, designed to put every single participant in the exact same position of power.
So, with the roles assigned, the participant, the teacher, was introduced to their main tool for the experiment. And it wasn't a textbook or a whiteboard. Oh no. It was a machine that would become an absolute icon of psychological research. The shock generator.
I mean, just look at the details on this thing. This device was literally engineered to create psychological pressure. You've got this orderly line of 30 switches, giving you a sense of methodical escalation. But the real heavy lifting is done by the labels. They move from slight shock all the way up to danger, severe shock. And then you get to those final two switches just marked with a terrifying XXX. It's like a visual map of an escalating moral crisis right in front of you.
Now, the procedure itself was deceptively simple. For every wrong answer, you just administer a shock and move one level higher. This clear step-by-step process is so critical. It's what's known as the foot-in-the-door technique. You agree to a small thing, just a 15-volt shock, which makes it way easier to agree to the next, slightly larger thing. It turns this act of aggression into something that feels almost bureaucratic, like it's just a routine part of the job. This single sentence might be one of the most powerful tools in the entire script. The experimenter says this to you before the test even begins, and it's a completely calculated move. It's designed to shift your sense of responsibility. It's like they're saying, hey, don't worry about it. If anything bad happens, it's on me, not you. It basically gives you an out. But to make the machine feel absolutely real, to remove any doubt that this was all just pretend, every teacher was given a sample shock themselves, 45 volts. It was just a small jolt, enough to sting, but its purpose was huge. It confirmed that the pain the learner would soon be screaming about was 100% genuine. Okay, so as the voltage goes up, the experiment introduces its most powerful and disturbing tool, the sound of human suffering. And this wasn't random at all. It was a pre-recorded, carefully scripted performance designed to escalate perfectly in time with that dial you're turning. Just listen to this progression. It starts small with a grunt. By 120 volts, it's a real complaint. But 150 volts, that's the big turning point, a desperate plea, and he mentions a heart condition. Then the screams become agonized, and at 300 volts, the learner just refuses to participate at all. All of a sudden, this isn't a learning test anymore, is it? It's a test of your will. So of course, you're hearing these protests, and you hesitate. You're torn. But the script has a pre-planned answer for this exact moment. The experimenter, this calm figure in a gray lab coat, starts delivering a series of 4 standardized commands, or prods. Pay attention to how the language escalates here. It starts as a polite request, please continue. Then it shifts the responsibility to the experiment. The third prod says it's absolutely essential. And finally, the fourth one just removes any illusion you have of choice. It is a direct order. And the script had an answer for everything. It even had pre-written lines for your specific objections. You ask if the guy's okay, you get the no permanent tissue damage line again. You point out that the learner wants to quit, you're told that it doesn't matter what he wants. The script is basically a closed loop, designed to shut down any argument and just keep you going.
And now, we get to the experiment's absolutely chilling climax. This is the moment where all the pieces of this script, the escalating shocks, the screams, the authoritative commands, all come together for one final terrifying test. After an intense, awful scream, there's nothing. Just silence from the other room. That whole feedback loop of you shocking him and him protesting is suddenly broken. What does that silence even mean? Did he pass out? Is he seriously hurt or worse?
And here it is, the final horrifying twist in the procedure. The experimenter calmly tells the teacher that from now on, silence must be treated as a wrong answer. Just think about that for a second. You are now being ordered to deliver an electric shock to a man who is no longer responding. And right there, at that moment of maximum moral crisis, if you hesitate one last time, the script deploys its ultimate weapon, the final prod. The voice of authority in that lab coat looks right at you and calmly states, "You have no other choice. You must go on." The order is absolute, and the silence from the other room is deafening.
And so, we end up right back where we started. Milgram's script was so much more than a set of instructions. It was an engine, precision engineered to force an impossible choice. It was never really about punishment and learning. It was designed to ask a fundamental question about what happens when authority and your own conscience collide. And it forces us all to wonder, in that room, with that script, what would we have done?